Truck Talk Media.
C10 Talk, episode 197, Next Gen C10. Halen Ashley, the C10 girl. They got her chassis at 7. She finished it. She's 15. She's been to some shows. She gonna be driving soon. Here we go. Watch out. Next Gen C10, Halen Ashley coming at you.
I've had a couple talk to me at shows and be like, "Whoa, I love your truck. You're amazing." I had this one little girl message me one time, and she was like, "You're so cool. I want my truck to look like yours." And I was just like, "Oh, thank you so much."
Damn, girl.
Let me tell you what Melbourne Post is packing right here. I've got 411 posi track out back, 750 double pumper, Edelbrock intakes, scored over 30, 11-1 pop-up pistons, turbojet, 390 horsepower. We're talking some bucking muscle.
What does that do? Does that blow your mind? That just happened.
Welcome to C10 Talk, your C10 truck podcast.
And now I have a chance to be the best, maybe the best in the world.
My old man, he's a television repairman. Got this ultimate set of tools. I can fix it.
I said I got 50 cents in that jukebox, and all I can hear is your mouth flapping. You hear that?
Here's your host, Ronnie Wedge.
What's up, C10 Nation, coming at you, a little Next Gen C10. Looking back, it has been June of 17. I was able to sit down with 4 young men. I sat down with Ryan, Briggs, Eddie, and Scott, and we had a great time. Now, one thing that's cool about the C10 community is I've been able to kind of see these kids grow up. So a little over 3 years later, and I still see Eddie. He's over here now in Arizona, AZ Pro Performance. Obviously, Briggs, I follow him online. Ryan, not so much anymore. He's doing some football and some stuff like that within school. And then Scott here is local as well, and I get to see him. I just saw him at Big Ten Bowman's open house. So that's been 3 years ago, watching these kids kind of grow up in the community. I thought, man, I really need to get another episode out with some Next Gen C10. So we've got Halen Ashley today, the C10 girl. What an amazing girl, what an amazing young woman, and she comes from an amazing C10 family. Now, I was going to put her together with Cody Castle. Cody has a 1976 killer Chevy Sport stepper and a great story. We went a little long, Cody and I, so I'm going to bump that to next week. Ladies first, Cody. We're going to sit down with Halen and talk to her about her truck, her super clean stepper, family built, Andes, and the story that kind of goes with that. So you'll get episode 198 with Cody. I'm going to bump him next week. I dig doing this stuff. I dig seeing these kids. I've known Halen for probably about 5 years that I can remember. Meeting her at the Get Down for the first time. I'm a big Van Halen fan, so the first time she told me, hey, this is who I am, and Brian's daughter, I was like, oh, that's dope. So her dad being a big Van Halen fan, and R.I.P. Eddie. Now, one thing I thought about as I was listening to the episode again, she tells me her favorite song, and then she tells me her chosen profession. I don't know, Halen, as you listen to this, if those two are going to go together all that well in the future, but hey, time will tell. So for you guys, tune in next week to hear Cody. This week, we've got Halen. Let's get right to it. A few shows, a few reviews, and we'll be cranking. So let's jump into some reviews. Please, if you guys get a chance, let's get this thing up to 600. Leave me a review. C10 Talk, you know how to do it. If you don't, hit me up, Ronnie at C10 Talk. Let's jump right in. C10 406. By C10 406, 5 stars. You could do a podcast about rocks and people would listen. Nice, dude. Thank you. I love your enthusiasm, and every time I listen, I can't wait to get back to work on my C10. I really enjoy the show. Keep up the good work. Thank you, C10 406. And I'm thinking that's Montana, C10 406 up there in Montana. So thank you for doing that. I appreciate it. And that's really what it's all about, is pumping you guys up, realizing that there's plenty of folks out there working on their project just like you, just like me, and we're trying to drive, get done, get to a show, meet that deadline, and keep cranking. And that's what it's all about. So thank you for taking the time to do that.
5-star, perfect. Thank you.
Yes, sir. 5 stars by Birins Noah. So Byron's Noah, I believe. Just started listening. I'm a big UBT fan. United by Trucks. Was watching and heard about the pod. Thank you, UBT. Have a square body myself and was wondering if you'll cover them a little bit. Love the pod. Keep it up. Great way to pass the time. Great content. Yes, we will. We love square bodies as well. So pretty much generic to all C10s and what goes on. But Cody does have a square body, the next guest for Byron's Noah. And you can tune in there, and it's a fun one for sure. Cody did a really good job. But today is Miss Halen Ashley. Thank you, Byron Noah, for doing that. Yes, sir. 5 stars. Appreciate it.
5-star, perfect. Thank you.
One more, Tyler Hart, 5 stars. Recently discovered the podcast and binge listened to them all. A great way to stay motivated on your project and inspired to get out on the road. Thanks, Ronnie. Appreciate the inspiration. Boom. That is exactly. Thank you so much, Tyler Hart.
5-star, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Byron's Noah and C10406 for taking the time to do that. If you guys could do that, please give us a review, give us a rating, and let us know how we're doing. We do appreciate it. A few shows coming up. We just had, let's see, what'd they have? Scraping the Coast. I know I saw Dead End and the fellows out there for that one, so that looked like it went pretty well. Obviously, there's some crazy weather in and out of the coast in Louisiana and everything that's going on down south. Drop 'em Ware's 13th annual car, truck, and bike show is going to be this weekend, October 17th, and that's in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Then you've got the Mini Truck Nationals, October 23rd through the 25th in Maggie Valley Festival Grounds in Maggie Valley, North Carolina. We'll also be in North Carolina on October 24th at the C10 Fall Revival. So if you're in that area, you've got a few things going with the Mini Truck Nats and then the C10 Fall Revival in Oakboro, North Carolina. Myself, I think John Orrell, C10 Club, Sammy Sells, Drop Lowered Carlos. We're making the trek out. So we look forward to seeing you guys and meeting new people and talking to you. And I will have the mic and the recorder with me. So we'll be out there. And then the Big Daddy, you've got the Get Down, the 10th annual. Dino did say it's a go. So November 13th and 14th, coming at you, Phoenix, Glendale area, the 10th annual quintessential C10 party of the year. Really, it truly is. It's the biggest C10 party show in the world. It really is. I've never heard of anybody packing in more than 1,600 trucks. If anybody says that they're bigger or more, I'd love to hear about it. But the Get Down, the 10th annual, Dino's Chevy only, coming at you November 13th and 14th. December, Turkey Drag, December 4th and 6th. I think you've already eaten the turkey at that point, so I'm not sure what you're doing with the drag, but maybe you're burning off all those calories. So December Turkey Drag, December 4th through the 6th, Lone Oak, Texas. Some shows coming at you. All right, guys, again, we're going to split it up with these two. Tune in next week for 198, Cody Castles and his killer Super Sport Stepper. Right now, we've got Miss Halen and Brian Ashley coming at you. Thank you guys so much for tuning in this week. Have a great week. Do what you do, stay out of trouble, and you guessed it, leave a review. Late. All right. How about a special treat? Halen Ashley and really Next Gen C10. We did this a few years ago. Super pumped about this, not only because she's an amazing girl, but just really when you think about the young person getting involved, the family that they kind of have in the setup with the Ashleys. Halen, you're an ambassador for the youth to think that, kids are out there, they're out there with their parents and they're wrenching. You've got your truck. Welcome to C10 Talk and our Next Gen C10 episode.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited. How's things in Tennessee?
They're really good. The weather's perfect.
Yeah, it's good. Good fall. You got your Halloween costume picked out?
No, sir.
Any ideas?
No.
No, you could go as a cheerleader, all right, because you've got that costume.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So you're saying you don't have a fall break. Now, do the public schools or do the kids have fall break there?
Yes, they're actually on fall break this week.
Okay, cool. So Halen is homeschooled, and you've been homeschooled since you were in second grade?
Yes, sir.
That would, in my mind, would provide a lot of wrenching time. So, hey,
It,
get your studies done, and now we can go help dad at work.
yes, it does. It's
Cool.
it's flexibility.
And we've got Brian, too, C10 Deputy, Brian Ashley. If you guys, whatever rock you might have been under, but we've had Brian on talk about the show, big part of C10 Club Tennessee and what you guys do out there. So, Brian, thanks for coming in and sitting, backing up Halen on this one.
Thanks, Ronnie. Thanks for having us.
Halen, tell us about the journey. You've been you didn't really have a choice, and that's what we like about your dad. He made sure that you were a C10 kid, whether you liked it or not. But you got bit by the bug, and you worked through that process. You have an amazing truck. Walk us through the journey of your truck and the highs and the lows.
We bought the frame when I was 7, and we've been kind of piecing it together ever since. We just find parts here and there. The motor's out of my dad's 1984 square body. It's a 350, has less than 100,000 miles on it. He LS swapped it, so I got it. We cleaned it up and has a Holley EFI on it. And I have a 700R transmission.
Did you know what you wanted? Did you know, hey, this is the style that I liked? Because that's the big thing, the generational styles.
I was 7 when we bought it, and he asked me what I wanted. And when I was younger, I didn't really know much what I wanted. He asked me when I was younger if I wanted a fleet side or a step side, and I didn't know what it was. I was just oh, step side. And then I just grew more and more to liking it since I really got into it a couple years ago when I started going to Dino's and meeting a lot of different people. And that's when we really started grinding on it and working on it a lot, every day. It's really become an obsession.
Yeah. What do you think is the biggest thing it's taught you, this whole journey from, 7, which, let's be honest, you probably don't remember all that much about now, then, but now you look at that journey and, the last few years of you really getting the truck done. What's kind of your favorite part of it?
My favorite part of building the truck was helping Bullock's Bodyworks do the bodywork on it. I would get done with my school and I would go throughout the week, every day. And he was teaching me so much and I learned from it, and it was a really good experience.
Did you ride your bike down there?
Yeah, my mom and dad drove me down there. It's just a mile down the road.
Yeah. I remember when we came out there, I was like, oh, I wonder, it's a country road and you guys kind of live out in the country. I would consider it to be the country. Is it the country for you guys?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Well, there was deer at Bullock's house. So that's where I was like, okay, we turned down the road and I'm like, there's deer in your front yard. We're in the country now.
Yeah.
Well, now that's a lot of hard work, that body work stuff. That's a lot of hard work.
Yes,
Breathing in the dust and did you ever think what did I get into? Or better yet, what did my dad get me into?
Yeah, it was a lot, on my nose, breathing in all the dust. It was so much. It was really time consuming, but it taught me a lot of patience.
She was the official wet sander, Jason Bullock said.
Oh, I bet
That's
it's
I didn't have
it saved his fingers.
I didn't have any fingers. I didn't have any fingerprints.
They were all gone. I think you even posted that at one point. You're like, I don't even have any fingerprints left. I've sanded them all off. You think about it now, and you're still young in school, and now you have one of the coolest trucks, if not the coolest truck in your town and your school. And, people are driving little Honda Civics or whatever your friends are out there driving, and you're like, you guys want to come check out my truck?
They don't really have an interest in it. There's a couple boys at school that are like, oh, I love your truck, man, but none of the girls have an interest in it.
Even picking the color, they don't think it's a pretty sweet color?
My cheer coach was like, I love the Tiffany blue color.
Oh, so she knows. Yeah, Tiffany blue. Good. That's a good thing. You're like, nah, I think that's kind of like a seafoam. Actually, in 67, 72, I think it might be medium green.
Yeah,
it's medium green.
Excuse me, 503.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful color. Either way, they switched it from seafoam to the 503. So that's cool. So yeah, I could see some of the guys being like, hey, has any of your friends asked you to drive it?
Yes, I told them no.
Yeah, I bet your
I
dad
didn't
told
know
you.
he
You
drives
tell
it.
everybody no, especially the young guys.
Yeah.
So you got Dad's 350. You got a 700 R4 out of there. Did you know what color you wanted it to be?
Yes, from the start, that's what I wanted.
That color had you.
Yes. My entire room, my phone, it's everything is that color.
That's cool. That's cool. How about wheels and stance and all that? Did you guys sit down, Brian, and figure it out as a team, or was that a tough thing trying to get her to decide on what style?
No, we went with the suspension. I think I'd had a 70 step side years and years ago, maybe in one of my first classic trucks, and I did a 4.6 and had 20s, and it set perfect. But we did 4.6 on this, or 4.5 6 on this one, and everything's. We took the frame down to sandblasted, and there's not I think the only two bolts that we even reused on the entire truck, frame wise at all, were the two large trailing arm bolts, just because I didn't want to spend $20 a piece on them at Ace when they've never been off in their life. So changed the bushings and put those bolts right back in there, but everything else was changed. We did a 4.5 6, and to be honest with you, it's too tall. Even after everything, all the weight was on the truck. After Jason was done, we had to go back and drop another 2 inches in the front and the rear. So technically, it's about. In fact, I think we went another 3 in the rear. It's actually 6.5, 9.
Yeah.
So I was weird how my old truck years ago, same setup, same year, and everything was 4.5 6 was perfect, and now it's like it just for some reason it just sat a little different. So we had to go 2 more inches below to get it where we wanted for the stance to sit at. So
yeah, the 4.6 drop didn't even tuck at all.
Wow, yeah, and I could see where like a 4.6. I think back in the day, I wonder if our memory as well is a little bit like, oh yeah, that's a lot lower than it used to be stock. But now everything is so low that when you look at something, you're like, well, maybe I need to go a little lower. The baseline has adjusted.
True.
Now, how'd you get that extra 2 inches out of the? How'd you end up getting that out of the front? Because obviously you went from saying a 4.5, you went a 2 with a 2.5 inch spindle.
2.5 inch spindle, and we cut a coil, cut about 3/4 of a coil, just to kind of double check and see if we liked it. And it was perfect. So I think we've driven it a decent amount, and it may rub every once in a while on a real good bump, but it's got a great stance to it.
It rides really good.
And then are you running? Really? Are you running an inner fender, a stock, or what are you running on the inner? I don't remember.
Yeah, it's stock.
Okay, stock. So yeah, that's the key. So you've got you can go a 3 spring and then a 2.5 to take it 5.5, but you guys sound like you might even be a little bit lower. So that's awesome, and that's the key, right? Whether or not you're rubbing. When you turn, does it catch it all, or no?
Yes, sir.
Good. Okay. So you take a look at it. How about wheels? Was that a challenge picking out wheels?
Well, originally we had some steel wheels. We're going to powder coat them white. And she'd bought some, what do they call them, the old Capo style caps. In fact, I think I bought them at Scottsdale Good Guys years ago, maybe 16 at we went to the Get Down and bought them out there and brought them back, $100 and brought them. And then we're going to run that. And then she decided she wanted a bigger wheel. So, I'll let her tell
I
this part.
decided I wanted a bigger wheel, and I decided I wanted a bigger steel wheel. But then I got in with Brian's Motorsports with Brian Hayes and Billet Specialties, and they came together and sponsored me with the wheels and tires. So they're Billet Specialty Speedways, 20s in the front, 22s in the back, and then Brian came and sponsored the wheel.
Yeah, the wheels, had them powder coated.
Yeah. And
we had them powder coated kind of a light gray, so they didn't. I guess they make it. The Speedways have that real dark gray, but she didn't want them that dark. So we kind of did almost like I would call it a silver gray, but had a local place here powder coat the inside gray, so it kind of offset a little bit, and it really goes good with the seafoam.
Yeah, it was. I just didn't want to get something like the chrome, like all the chrome. It was a little much for me, and the dark. I didn't really want the dark, so I liked it that it kind of broke it up, and it was different than anyone else has.
Does that make you feel good when you say too much chrome? I wanted it to be balanced. And at a young age, you trusted yourself, you talked to your dad, and you did it, and then people loved it. How does that make you feel? Like hey, I have good style.
Yeah, I just see I just like seeing stuff on Instagram and stuff, and that's kind of where I get that's where I got some of the ideas that I wanted. But Brian's Hayes, the guy Brian's Motorsports like said, would you like want to powder coat them? And I was like, yeah. And I came up with like how I wanted them powder coated and where, and it turned out really good.
Oh, it turned out really good. And it, like you said, it's all that balance. So that makes you feel good, because sometimes people can't make that decision. They really struggle with that. You did that. You know, he gave you that opportunity. Shout out to BMS, Brian Motorsports. They're there in Tennessee. And the wheels, the other thing too, is it's a crazy how a stance wheels can make a truck or break a truck. You could take some truck, people don't even look at it, and then all of a sudden you take put the stance and then wheels, and you're like, oh damn, look at that, you know. And you're gonna get oh damn either way, because the color and everything that you have going on with your truck. It's a beautiful truck. But
I've had so many people tell me that like the stance and the wheels is like completely like perfect, like it couldn't get any better.
Well, and we kind of had a push where I feel like air management and everybody's on air ride, and now you come in and it's a little bit cheaper to go static. You are at static. You don't have to mess with it. You get in, boom, and you can let it rip. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So speaking of letting it rip, have you had a chance to let it rip with Dad, maybe, you know, sitting next to you?
No, she ran a red light with Nick Toulier in Mobile. There was a video where Nick was posting a video, and she saw the red light, and I'm trying to think exactly what it was that she said, but it was something along the lines of, "Oh, I got it. I'm just gonna go ahead and take it." So she just, you know, forget it now. And just went right on through it. I mean, like Nick's like. Now Nick's like an accomplice, you know, it's contributing to the delinquency of a minor at this point. So
it was too close to like, I would have like slammed on the brakes. So I was like, you know what, no one's around.
Yeah.
Might as well.
That's what every person that gets in a crash in a red light says. There's nobody there.
This is a good opportunity. You need to tell your dad, listen, I need to go out and drop the hammer on Andy's, and I need to test the brakes. So now I know, hey, if I'm at this point and it's yellow, I either need to drop the hammer or I can make it. So now we're coming up with an excuse.
We need to figure out what the limits are of the truck. That's what it is. Yes.
What brakes do you have on there? What'd you end up putting on there?
Just stock brakes. Nothing. Just original stock. I think it was. Yeah, we went into. I think it was originally a 67 frame. So we changed everything over to 5-load, of course. So
well, and disc, right? So that's the big thing on those older C10.
Yes.
So at least you got the disc.
Yeah,
the rears are great.
She wants rear disc, but
I really want to get a rear disc brake kit.
So we'll save up for a little shop, I guess, at some point.
That's the next kind of big thing I want.
Christmas. So when you picked the color, did you already have the name picked out, or did the name kind of come after you painted it?
The name kind of came with the color.
Mm-hmm. You
Just
knew it right away. Oh, for sure.
Well, she liked the Andes mints that you get.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I guess the Olive Garden mints. Or what do you want to call them?
And then we ended up having the darker green, like original color remade. But then I just kind of stuck with the Andes.
Mm-hmm. And how about the interior? Another thing that you guys did a great job on.
The interior, me, my mom, and my dad did it. So me and my mom laid the sound deadener down. That was a pain. And then we got carpet in. And then it's just black. And then we got I just have an original bench seat, and I have 2 Mexican blankets sewn together, wrapped around the seat. And we actually got it on a road trip to Dino's in 2018.
Yeah, from Tucson. When we made the trip from Joey's from Tucson to Phoenix, we stopped there at the Pilot, one of those with Alex Lopez and everybody. I think it was a little shop over there, little Indian reservation store out there next to the gas station. And she went in there and found a good one that had some mint green and some white and some black in the blanket. So we got 2 of them for best $20 we spent in the trip, probably.
When you saw those blankets, you know, at the stop, were you like, I have to have those. I need those as part of my truck.
I walked in and they had a ton of colors. It was like lime green and red and purple. And I was looking through them, like looking for a mint green, because that's like what I wanted on my seat covers. And I'm looking and I just see one and I'm like.
So you bought a C10 and it either had AC at one time or it wasn't even an option. Well, Vintage Air has the solution for you. Their SureFit kits are designed to place the evaporator and hoses behind the dash for a factory clean look. In most cases, the SureFit systems will be controlled by your stock dash controls using their exclusive cable converters. In some applications, a new factory look control panel is included with the kit. The SureFit systems provide full OEM style operations, including air conditioning, floor or vent heating, and a powerful defroster. To retain a true factory look, the AC air exits through the factory dash louvers, if originally equipped in your truck. The Gen 4 kit provides infinite, just right temperature, air blending, and blower fan speed adjustments. The Vintage Air SureFit kits are the best value and the most completely engineered air conditioning system you can install in your C10. Add the fact that Vintage Air has been the most respected name in performance aftermarket climate control systems for 40 years. 40 years? Damn, son. The choice is obvious. VintageAir.com. I've got Kathy White, Classic Performance Products, CPP on the line. Kathy, how's it going?
Hey, Ronnie, what's up?
What's up? What's new?
We've got a ton of things for the C10 community. First things first, our 2.5-inch Extreme X10 drop spindle. So we've upgraded the current modular spindle to modern technology. This new X10 spindle is a one-piece forged, but it utilizes strong, modern, bolt-in, internally sealed bearing hub assembly. So it's low maintenance. It doesn't move the wheels out, and you can use big brakes from us or any aftermarket big brakes out there in the market.
That's awesome. What else is new?
So we have actually gone back and redesigned our aluminum fuel tanks. As you know, our fuel tanks are the thickest, strongest, and largest capacity in the industry. But now you can actually use the same tank for either a carbureted or a fuel injection application. 63 to 72, it's 20 gallons. And for 73 and newer, 22-gallon capacity.
How about that coilover kit? You guys must be killing it with that thing.
That is such a great kit. It's fully bolt-on. It's easy to install. Strongest tubular arms in the market, available with either upper and lower or just the lowers or just a coilover kit by themselves. All the mounting brackets that you need, and it also comes with dual adjustable coilover shocks. So it's really responsive. It's up to you however you want to tune the compression or the rebound. It's perfect if you're just cruising on the streets, and it's proven on the track.
Well, that's what we like. So if you need spindles, the new X10, fuel tanks, coilovers, they've got it. Classic Performance Products, CPP. And don't forget, use code C10TALK, C10TALK at checkout and save 10%. Thanks, Kathy.
Thank you, Ronnie.
I walked in and they had a ton of colors. So it was like lime green and red and purple. And I was looking through them, like looking for a mint green because that's like what I wanted on my seat covers. And I'm looking and I just see one and I'm like, oh, that's not enough to cover the whole seat. And then I asked the lady, and I was like, do you have any more in the back? And she was like, oh yeah. She took me to the back and they have like 7. I was like, I just need 2.
Yeah.
But I was scared for a second. I was like, oh my goodness, I really, really wanted this.
She wants a Snowden seat, of course, because everybody does, right? But she's going to have to.
I've seen one on Instagram that he's done that's like all black and has like the seafoam stitching.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's so pretty.
Well, you have great taste. I'll tell you that. You might have to work a little harder and make a little bit more money, but you have good taste because, like you said, you get exposed to it. You're checking all this stuff out online. The Snowden seat, obviously the billet specialty wheels. You're like, hey, it's not quite low enough. I need a little lower. And really, when you think about your interior, even picking out, the blankets, if you will, it's less is more. You don't have to go too crazy on these trucks. And sometimes guys do go to, and girls, they go a little too far. And you've got there's a lot of class in the resistance to get too crazy.
I still wanted the inside kind of like the outside looks super nice and looks super clean, but I really wanted the inside to be fun. I love my Mexican blankets, and then you get in and you look up and I have all the stickers on the roof. That's probably what my favorite part of the truck besides my bed.
Yep. And for the audience, I'll repost it. It's my favorite part. She's got the whole headliner just stickered out like crazy, and it's not even too much. It's a lot, believe me, it's a lot, but it's not too much. It's a really good balance, and it's cool when you see the truck. You're like, whoa, look at this, and then you look at it, and then you look up, and you're like, oh, that's dope. That's totally different because it's something that you don't see from a gaudy perspective. You look at it, you're checking it out, and then it catches your eye, and you look up, and there it is. Yeah,
there's stickers. There's stickers from all over the country, from Switch and Dino. I mean, I've got them everywhere.
Yeah, it's cool.
Everyone.
What do you think when you go to the show and people are checking it out? How'd that make you feel? Going to the Southeastern Truck Nationals, you were down at Alabama. People are loving your truck.
Yeah, it's really, really flattering that people were loving it and walking up. And at my dad's show, I had my windows down just so it stayed cool, if I needed to get in and drive it. and people were like walking up to it and putting stickers like in my seat. They were like tossing them in, and I loved that. Like I got in my truck and I was like, oh my goodness. But I just love it being there, like people being able to see it and stuff. Just it makes me really happy of all the hard work that me and my dad put into it.
Speaking of stickers, I was Big Ten Bowman had an open house on Saturday, and I've got your sticker right on my cooler. That's a cool thing too. You have a sticker for your truck. I mean, there's not a lot of kids I know that have a sticker for their truck.
Yeah, it's in the back of my phone case. I have it everywhere. I love it.
Cool. Is there anything that you would do different if you could?
No, I think it's perfect the way it is.
Cool. What's your top addition that when you have a list and you're like, I have a goal, I want to work towards this, I want to earn this, and this is my top 3 things that I want to kind of add to my truck over time?
Definitely disc brakes in the rear, and then yeah, definitely I definitely want to work towards the snow seat, the disc brakes, and I eventually wanted to lay it out, but I really just love the sands too much. But I don't know. It might be something in the future.
Both of my daughters, I have a 9-year-old, and both of them have been instructed that they're never allowed to sell their truck ever.
Yeah.
Well, as long as I'm on the earth.
Sure.
There's, again, I'm sure this truck in the next 50 years will get made over several times. I'm sure over the period of the next 5 decades or so, or 6, however long she's alive, and she may pass it on to her kids. Who knows? So it'll get made over several times. So it's funny. No one is harder on her than me. There's not even a close second. But I will say, a lot of people, I had to explain to a lot of people, the truck is very nice, and it wasn't supposed to be. She wanted patina, and I think about 80% of it was the original mint green, the 503 that we found, but we couldn't get a good mixture. We knew we couldn't paint certain body panels. It was never going to. 30 feet away, be okay. Going down the road, you look okay. When you get closer, you can see it was a different shade. So Jason, the story is, I told Bullock, listen, just get rid of the dents, get rid of the rust. She doesn't care about this. Just kind of, you can patina it, this. I spoke to him for probably 30 seconds about what I wanted, what I think she wanted, what we wanted. And then he goes, yeah, I'm not going to do that, right? So
that's exactly what I'm thinking.
Yeah. So
he doesn't mess around.
That's why it turned out to be as nice as it is, because, and all the nice things about it, to be honest with you, either Brian Hayes and Bill especially has donated the wheels. I made her, she's 15, but I made her pay for she does works on people's cars here locally. Sometimes it's a brake job. Sometimes it's something, just a tune-up or babysitting or oil changes, whatever for people. So I made her pay for the sniper. I made her pay for the air conditioner, the vintage air. I made her pay for what was the other thing? It was another big, it was 4 main purchases. And I made her pay for, I just, not say I made her pay, but I guess, Ronnie, my point is it's not really my job to make the nice stuff. I guess we were going to build it and have it go down the road, but it wasn't really my intentions on making it as nice as it was. So she did a good job on her own by saving up money and buying those items to make it nice right off the bat initially when she turned 16.
A lot of it was also gifts. Like I had been getting Christmas parts for Christmas and for my birthday since I was like 7 and 8. And like this year, like I have no idea what to put on my Christmas list. And I just been getting so much stuff that like every year that's like, oh, that's something I don't have to pay for. Or even like last year I was getting like oil and transmission fluid, just simple stuff that like I needed, but then I didn't have to pay for. So it was just really nice. So
you're gonna need gas money pretty soon. That's what you're gonna need.
Yes, yeah. Gas price.
We've been. I remember maybe it was after the 2015 Southeast Truck Nationals. I remember David Woodall from Southern Cycle Classic coming over, and that's where we buy a majority of, probably 90% of the parts on that truck, or at least the door panels and things like that. And I remember him bringing over, and I remember her giving him she sold water, walking around in one of the radio flyers, cookies and water, and she made several $100s. And she bought. I mean, we've had parts. But I'm guaranteed if you look at the price tag on it now and then look at when we were building it, look at the price tag, what it is now, it's probably gone up, 20, 30%. So just, whether it was weather precision, weather stripping. I mean, we've had things in bins for probably 4 or 5 years. It's like it was Christmas putting this truck together. It rarely was there, so many things you'd open up stuff. It's like, I forgot we had this. Yeah. I forgot we'd already bought this and this and this. So.
Well, and with the climate of our trucks, it's probably worked out better from the investment perspective. Like you said, the pricing, 3-4 years ago is better than it is now, just based upon demand and everything else going on. So for you guys to get that done, did you have a goal at a certain time? I want the truck to be done. Like, what pushed you to get it done in the time frame that you end up getting it done?
I wanted it done by Battle in Bama. Battle in Bama was supposed to happen in May, and then that ended up getting canceled. Plus, I kind of wanted it to be first, to come out first at my dad's show, and that it just kind of worked in my favor that would be the first show.
Yeah, that was the first. In fact, we'd not even driven it. I think I'd driven it once or twice, and it broke down on me right before the show. I guess the Thursday before the show, we took it to Brian's for his. He's got a big pre-show party before the show, so we took it down there, and it broke down on us the way down there. And then I guess the deal I made with Brian was that if I bring it over there, bring it to your pre-show party so it could be there on display, since he contributed an awful lot to it with the wheels and tires and stuff like that. And I said, it's fine, but you're going to have to bring it. You're going to have to trailer it to the show because I've just got so much on my plate that I can't bring it to the show. So and I'm not making fun of Brian. Brian's awesome. But they trailered it Saturday morning. It showed up. I told him where to park it in Bullock's in booth next to his other trucks he'd built that were there at the show. And then I look up into the show. We're done the trophies. I'm exhaling because we had 1,023 Chevrolet trucks this year, and I'm exhaling. It's hot. I look over, and Brian's gone, and we're 30 miles from the house, and I'm like, crap. And so my wife we both had her vehicles, and here she is 15, and we're like, how am I gonna get this truck back? I can't leave it here at the fairgrounds. So luckily we had a friend with us that was 21, and she rode back with her, but we'd never driven the truck. Probably more than just around town. I mean, I wouldn't say more than maybe 5 or 10 miles. So here we are driving 30, 40 miles back to our house from the show. I'm like, I don't need a breakdown after the long day we had. I don't need it. But it's been fine. We drove it all around Mobile at Alabama. It's been pretty good. And I haven't had any issues with it at all.
It's good. Yeah. What a fun journey. And then to really, the way, like you said, you wanted it for Battle in Bama, but to debut it there is so cool because it's like, did you win an award? I think you won an award somewhere.
I didn't. It was C10s of the South that they came together.
Yeah.
And did gifts.
All the state club guys got together and gave her something. Yeah, no, she's not eligible for my show.
No, I didn't.
I don't let her. That's what's going to look too.
I didn't want to.
Fixes in. So if there's anything about my show I don't like, it's the trophy. So I don't want her to. If she gets one, everybody's going to know for a fact that they're going to think something's fixed.
Yeah, you are. You're the father's daughter. It's the old football coach. Like I'm harder on my own kid than I am, and you're not going to be the MVP because you're my kid. So
well, she needs to tell you. She needs to tell you a story about her carpet. She went right through it. This is a perfect example. Go ahead. It's your turn.
You have I want to say, is it the black loop? Right. It's the.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
So black loop carpet. So you order your carpet.
No, I got it for Christmas a couple years ago.
Yeah, probably
a couple years ago, and we got to put it in months back in the beginning of the year, and we got it in, glued. Me and my mom glued it down. Me and my mom actually put it in, and it looked great. We put the seat in, or we got all the audio down on the carpet under the seat, and then we put the seat down, and I don't even know why it was there or what it was there for, but there was this tube of
brand new tube of 3M weather yellow stripping.
It was humongous bottle of bright yellow adhesive, and I'm laying up on my seat to reach under to tighten the bolts down to put it on the floor, and I fell off my seat, and this tube is on the floor, and I, not on purpose, I fell off of the seat. And I landed on the adhesive, and I heard this pop, and I was like, "Huh, what's that?" And I get up, and I turn around, and this big humongous puddle of yellow adhesive is just smeared all in my black carpet. And my dad's like, "Oh, it's fine. We can get it out." I'm like,
"No."
Oh,
yeah, no, that stuff is
I'm like, "No, we can't get it out."
Yeah, that stuff is crazy.
She was in tears, so she learned a $175 a lesson real quick. Yes, she learned a new, so she had to go back and buy another carpet kit from Dave. So we had to yank the seat out again. So it was
the amount of times that we took that seat in and out was, it was getting on my nerves. That is a pet peeve of mine, just having to take something in and out and in and out. And I was just like, oh.
Well, you're learning a lot of great lessons because being a C10 or a classic vehicle owner is a lot of seats in and out. That 3M stuff, I'm fairly confident that 90% of our audience knows exactly what you're talking about. It's like a white and red tube, says 3M in it, comes out like ghost blood glue or something.
Like you put it, like you open the lid and you like go squirt it out. Like there's like stopping it. Like it doesn't stop. You can't.
I remember putting that on there, and then you try to wipe it off on all the weather stripping, and it's some nasty stuff. It's got a pretty the smell is very strong too. So you end up trying to clean the carpet. You got new carpet. You got the seat back in. Now, what audio did you end up picking? Was that something that you wanted, some big beats, and you're like, listen, I'm a teenager. I wanted to make sure I feel this thing in my back.
It wasn't really that, like, I don't have that. I have a 10-inch amp / subwoofer under my seat. It's like this. It's not very tall. Just sits right under the seat. And then I have JL audio, so it's like this little, like a little Bluetooth thing. And we actually carved out the cigarette lighter. We carved out the cigarette lighter some more, and then like stuck the Bluetooth in there. So it like is where the cigarette lighter is, and then we put the cigarette lighter up like under the dash so you can't see it. So I just have to like get in, touch the button, and it automatically connects to my phone, and it's nice. It sounds really good.
Cool. Now what's Lizzie think? She's next, and she's got an older sister who's been through it. She's got her truck. She's got a square body. What's that journey? I mean, are you going to be able to help her out?
Yes, she helped a lot with mine. She liked helping with mine, so I want to like help with hers. But she really likes mine. She wants to know, like, she was like, oh, is mine going to be painted like yours? But they bought the truck like all originally. We have all the panels.
I made sure I got all the paint panels the same color this time. So I'm hoping Jason's going to fix a little bit of the rust issues with it. I think we're going to try to. We had the bed cut down a couple weeks ago from a local guy here, Cobb Dickerson, that was local here in about 45 minutes from us. And I was talking about finding somewhere to blend the paint in. She goes, no, I'm leaving the scars, Daddy.
Ooh, I like it. Yeah, that's cool.
I said, we'll see it in 6-7 years when you're 16. If that's still, but she's. I mean, it's outside here gaining patina as I look out the window and see it.
Sure. That was an influence on leaving the scars.
Yeah, scars are. It's kind of like life. It tells you a little bit about that truck. So I think that's
love it.
Cool.
Like I see a truck and it has scars. I'm like, oh, that's cool. My mom hates it. My mom's like, no, she's gonna cover the scars up. And I was like,
now that you've built a truck and you get to help out with your sisters and your dad's multiple different projects over the time that he will continue to have, what's your favorite part of the build? Hey guys, one of the biggest upgrades I was able to make on Orange Slice is my lighting. Think about this. You've got your old school sealed yellow lights. You put in new United Pacific headlights, boom, quadruple the lightage. They look better, they perform better, and guess what? They're safer. So you've got LED options, you've got new headlight options. They look great. And honestly, we upgrade so many things with our trucks. Why not upgrade the lighting? When you do, think United Pacific. Here's the best part. You get to save 15% off all C10 products by using code C10Talk15. Save 15% off all C10 products by using code C10Talk15. Go to upcarparts.com. That's right, upcarparts.com. I don't think you'll forget it. Save today. Thanks, guys. Give them a follow on social media too, Facebook and Instagram. Hey guys, I've got Bobby from PSI Conversion on the phone looking at LS LT based motor swaps. Bobby, why should we choose PSI Conversion?
Ronnie, our harnesses are made right here at home in the U.S. Our product lineup includes the early 90s Gen 2 LT motors, Gen 3, Gen 4 LS VotorTech motors, and Gen 5 LT and LT4 packages. We have transmissions ranging from automatic 4, 6, 8 speeds, and soon to be released our new 10-speed. In addition to all the manual options out there.
Wow, you guys cover everything. How do you deal with intimidation factor when a customer is doing their first LS or LT swap?
Great question, Ronnie. But the thing is, there's nothing that we haven't seen here in the LS and LT world. If you grab almost any motor out of a junkyard, you want to Frankenstein it build together, or even supercharge it. Leave it to our sales team to help guide you along the way to the products that you need for your restoration. We have over 10 years of experience in the market. a tech department that is available to help troubleshoot and diagnose any issues or questions that you have along the way while installing your PSI products. Couple that with a staff that is going to be standing by our product with pride, made right here in the U.S. to a GM quality standard. Our team is happy to get you wired up and fired up.
And don't forget, guys, use code C10TALK and you'll save 5% off your order. PSIconversion.com. PSIconversion.com. You want to save 5%? Use code C10TALK at checkout. Thanks, Bobby.
What's your favorite part of the build?
Definitely, I love the suspension and the framework, like lowering the truck, changing out the brakes, not changing out the brakes, but like doing like rotors and stuff like that. Just suspension work's definitely my favorite part on any truck or anything that we work on. I got to help a lot with that on C. Tinsley on his 65. So.
Chassis stuff's cool because it's kind of like a big erector Lego set. It's big, pretty good sized bolts that you can, it's not real tedious. You get in there, you clean it up, and you can see the fruits of your labor because it's like, wow, we just built this chassis. Or like you said, you took it to powder coat and you built this. Now you have a rolling chassis and you're like, this thing is gorgeous. Look at this thing and look at this, the platform for my truck.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it was definitely my favorite part.
Now with Lizzie's truck, what are you guys doing with the chassis? Since it was a long bed, you cut it as well, or had that guy?
Yeah, he cut the bed down. Yeah, for $1,300, he cut the bed down and the bed and the frame.
Wow, that's a good price. That's a really good price.
It's gutted, and it's sitting there on the side of the shop here. I'm gonna take it to get blasted probably at some point, and we'll start. We've actually been accumulating. I bought, in fact, last week but 2 weeks ago, I bought a drop kit from Brian's, a 5.7 drop kit for her. So from a Beltec kit. So from Brian.
Don't forget the disc brake
and
kit.
I bought her rear brake disc brake kit from Little Shop. Halen's a little jealous because I didn't buy it for her.
Brakes.
So
well, just so you know, even the newer vehicles don't even have disc. They convert back. You don't really need disc. I'm gonna go on daddy moment here on you because you really don't need them. They look cool, but you don't need them. And at the rate you stop at lights anyways, which it sounds like it's not.
Rarely.
You're all right. You don't need them.
Yeah, the little brakes are fun. Yeah.
Hey, that'll give you something to work for. So maybe this Christmas you can decide: do I want a Snowden seat? Do I want some brakes? And kind of work through that. Now let's talk about you. You're sophomore this year.
Yes.
You're sophomore this year. What's the plan? What do you want to do? In 5 years from now? Where do you want to be? What's your career outlook?
I want to I'm called to go into ministry and be a pastor.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to go into Bible college. So I'm still talking about the reserves. I want to go into the Air Force Reserves. So it's kind of up in there a little bit right now, but that's definitely what I want to do.
No, they have ministry. I assume that you could go into the reserves, and would you want to do something else, more tactical, more fun, and then get into ministry, or would you want to start your ministry base there?
Like, I would want to go into Bible college and start my ministry there, and work up.
And then do the reserves on the side on your weekends.
I'm not really sure. Yes, I'm not sure yet. I discussed it. It's been up in the air the past couple weeks. So
cool. Well, right now you have plenty of time.
I'm only a sophomore, so I'll have junior year.
You'll change your mind several times between now and 18, probably. Who knows?
At what point were you thinking, hey, I want to get into ministry? Is it something you've been passionate about for a long time?
Actually, a couple weeks ago, God called me to be a pastor. I was standing in the back of the youth room on a Wednesday night, just talking to me, and he said, "You're going to go into ministry. You're going to be a pastor, and I want you to go to Bible college."
That's cool. Yeah. Well, like you said, your dad said you've got plenty of time and plenty of options to figure it out. You've got one rad truck. I think the journey, what do you think it's taught you? So when you think about the time with your family and, the nights, the days, the weekends in the shop, wet sanding over at Jason's, and then really all the people that you've made, friendships with and working relationships with, Ryan Motorsports. What has it taught you, this journey of you, your dad, and your family? Your mom helped you in this build.
Definitely, we definitely got a lot of family time. It was a lot. We were together, definitely. a ton, and I definitely learned a lot of patience and a lot of things that, like, when something happens or when something goes wrong or when someone gets mad, to just brush it off. It doesn't matter. Walk
She
away.
learned what not to do from me.
Yeah.
Yeah, dad's patience. That's one thing. Sometimes dads do a good job of teaching you what not to do and how not to yell.
Yes. Don't throw the tool.
Yeah, I'm sure. But don't you think it's cool to be part of something, and it's so special because your whole family had something to do with it, your extended truck family for sure, and now you get to drive this vessel around, and everybody's got a little piece of them in your build.
Yes, I was definitely blessed with everyone that has, like, given into me and poured into me and been an influence on me or given something or sponsored me with my truck. Like Bullock's Body Works and Billet Specialties and Brian's Motorsports and Southern Kentucky Classics are definitely the big ones. And 110 Machining came in and they did my badges. They say C10 girl. So that's definitely like my favorite part.
Well, I love that your dad said, this is something we've been working on for years. It isn't something that we just went out and bought her. We made her earn it. We made her work for it. And it's been an amazing journey to see you start, from the very first time. I'll never forget the first time I met you at the Get Down, and then your dad tells me your name, and I'm like, that's like the coolest name. And I think, Cheyenne's a cool name, but I think Halen's a pretty awesome name. By the way, how was last week? Was your dad crying last week,
Yeah, I heard that.
Was he rocking Van Halen all day long on the 6th?
It's been in the shop this morning. It's been in the shop this morning.
Yeah. I think all the playlists are just constantly. I was watching some Eddie videos this morning, just constantly coming up on my feed because they know that we're all the guys your dad's and I's age are just constantly, binging on Eddie and Van Halen just
Me too.
because it's kind of a crazy. See, that's cool.
I have like every single album in my phone.
What's your favorite song? What's your favorite Van Halen song?
Running with the Devil.
Oh wow, that's probably sounds pretty good in your truck.
Yeah.
Sweet.
The one thing I'll say, Ryan, I real quick about her truck is that it's funny. I think most of us, and this is too, is the scene from just say 9 years ago when we first bought it for 8-9 years ago. I said, you think to yourself, okay, we're going to fix this truck up, we're going to build it, and it's going to be about a $10,000 truck, maybe $8,000 to $10,000 truck. By the time she gets, there, and you're like, man, that's a lot to give a kid, but that's not, it's not, astronomically a large amount of money to spend on a kid's first vehicle. But man, with the scene, the way the change the last 6, 7, 8 years, now you're like, now I'm giving her a $25,000 truck, and it's really made her. She's learned something from this, where she's looking at buying. I hate to say this, but she might buy a little beater to get around, locally because. It wasn't the intention, but with now the way that these trucks are, and again, like I said before, she will keep it forever. So it's not like doesn't mean you go out and just decide to tear it up right away. But at the same time, you kind of, I guess you didn't expect to, with the way these things have just gone up so much. You had no idea that you give somebody not give somebody, but it would be the value of the truck would be so much. Again, there's not really a value on it since she's never selling it, so I guess it doesn't really matter what the value of it is. But if it came down to Haggerty or I forget the other one's names, but insurance wise, it has to have a value to it. But I guess you just don't think 9 years ago. I didn't think I was giving. We were going to build a truck that was the value was like it's just how the scene. It just shows you how crazy the scene has changed versus what it was even 7-8 years ago.
Well, and the other thing too is there is another lesson there, and the audience and myself and all of us here have dealt with it, is sometimes it's hard to not necessarily stay under budget, but when you're tearing down the brakes, and you're like, well, listen, we're going to stay under budget. We're going to just kind of reman these brakes. And you're like, but once I do all that and I spend all this time, I can just get new brakes for X amount more, and it's so much better. So it's having the restraint, or our aftermarket scene makes it so easy just to go a little bit more and get, just a little bit more and get this. And you're already there. And then when you factor in your experience and my experience, she doesn't have it except for now she does. But then you're like, we're going to just get new brakes. You're like, well, I thought we were going to save every penny and we're going to, refurb, reman, and recycle our old brakes. Like, well, no, it's not worth the time. These are better. These are this. And you just get it kind of that whole thing where we've heard it 1,000 times. Snowball, and the truck becomes probably a little nicer than maybe you initially anticipated, just based upon all that experience. So that's a great lesson learned for you too, Halen, is over time you do something, you're like, I feel like I do that more with houses that I've built, is like, I'm not going to redo this plumbing. I'm not going to redo all this. I'm forced to kind of spend that little extra money because in the long run, it's going to be a better deal. And that's probably what happens a lot, especially when you do a ground up restoration. I don't know how you get away with it doing a ground up restoration. It's tough,
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's a fun time. Well, we love your truck. We love you and your family and everything that you guys do. I think it's going to be fun to watch Lizzie's truck, that you're going to help her and all the lessons you've learned. Anything else you'd like to share with, let's say, some other kids out there? We can pass this on, the next Gen C10 or the C10 girl, and the things that you've learned and things that, let's say there's a 12-year-old girl somewhere listening, or her dad, and, anything you'd like to share with your overall experience of this process?
It's definitely really worth it. Just everything you go through, and then you're done, and you look back at it and you're like, whoa, like we did that. It's really rewarding.
Have you had any kids or anybody social media wise reach out to you and say, hey, you're an inspiration to me because I've seen what you started with and what you have now? Or when you go to shows and people are like, this is your truck, you built this, and kids that you've met along the way, or not just necessarily young kids, but kids your age?
I've had a couple talk to me at shows and be like, whoa, I love your truck, like you're amazing. I had this one little girl message me one time, and she was like, you're so cool, like I want my truck to look like yours. And I was just like, oh, thank you so much. So.
Cool, good for you. Now, I think at one point too, you were kind of like friends with Briggs, like even like boyfriend and girlfriend type friends?
We're still friends.
Boyfriend and girlfriend friends at one point?
Yes, sir.
Okay, but now you're just friends.
Yeah.
Did you ever hit up Briggs and be like, hey, I got a question for you on this?
There were a couple times.
Did they help with the chassis and some stuff too?
Yeah. Death balls are awesome.
So you guys have an amazing group out there, and that's really, I think, at the end of the day, your life lesson, especially if you do go into ministry, is just it's about the people in the community, and your dad being such a vital part of it, and then all the networking. And that's one thing I always try to tell my kids, like, listen, it doesn't matter. It's not necessarily what you know, but who you know. And I think over time you're going to figure that out. So we're glad you got it done. We're glad you debuted it at your dad's show. Brian, what about you? What will you do different with Lizzie versus Halen?
I will probably try to save myself the paint body work if I can do that. Probably be more patient in the garage. We had a lot of good family time, but it probably wasn't. Sometimes there was a lot of yelling. My wife had to leave a couple times. She couldn't leave because it was her truck. But probably, and Lizzie's a lot more like me than Halen is. Halen's got several similarities, but Lizzie's a lot. So me and Lizzie will probably butt heads an awful lot. But
Lizzie will butt heads more with him than I do, which is kind of scary.
Yeah,
we butt heads a lot.
but she, certain things I learned to do, and probably take a little more patience on some things, I guess, mostly with her, and probably try to have her do as much as possible. And I try to get Halen to do as much as possible. Sometimes, again, my patience or lack of patience kicked in, so I might start working on something, and she was inside doing schoolwork, and I realized I probably should have waited and let her. She knew how to do it. I just went ahead and she'd come out and go, "Oh, you put this on it?" Yeah, I just went ahead, and so instead of I should have probably let her, probably a little more, let her do a little more than, again, we probably took the same part I put on, we probably turned around and took it right back off to fix something, or do something else. So she learned to probably put it on again, like her seat, we took it out probably 10 times until Nick reminded me that there's that bolt you can take out so you can flip it forward. So instead of dealing with the gas tank or trying to reach back there and try to find something, because we left the tank in the cab. So, so now I hope we'll have to take the next time we take the seat out is because she saves up no money for a stone seat. I mean, hopefully it's the next time we ever have to take it out. But probably just being more patient, that's for sure. So
yeah, well, I think a lot of dads could use a little bit of that. So I don't think you're far off on that one. But yeah, myself included for sure. But that's part of the process, and that's why I love grandpas, because grandpas are, they've got that built-in patient because they lived through 40, 50 years of this, and then you look back and I look at my father-in-law, I'm like, God, my God, this guy's such a patient guy compared to me, and he just looks at me and he's like, why you let him get you all fired up, because my son gets me pretty fired up. But nonetheless, you guys, you off track, you made it, you did it, your truck is awesome. And I think the journey is going to teach you lessons that will give on forever. You'll always have a special place with that truck based upon your family. And really, I think just carrying on that next Gen C10 and just keeping it alive.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Thank you guys for taking time out of your day and your schedule to come hang out with the C10 Nation. We appreciate what you guys do, not only from this perspective, but really at the scene level. The Ashley family is a big part of it. Thank you guys.
Yes, thank
No
you so
problem.
much.
See you in a
for
couple
having
weeks.
me.